You know, they're selling y'all wolf tickets, people. You're eating them right up.
Hey, pussy, are you still there?
I back. Trust me, I back.
But I'm not impressed by your performance.
You'll do nothing. You'll do nothing. Shut your fucking mouth, you'll do nothing. You'll do fucking nothing. Not one of you'll do nothing.
I'll tell you what, bro. You know, I was out there, I was fighting all the hitters, bro. You ain't fought no hitters.
Come on, guys. It's normal.
I'm not saying I would fight you. I would kill you.
John, do you think I'm just gonna sit there and let you kill me, John? I mean, really?
No, don't be scared, homie.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the fuck he wants.
I'm gonna beat you into the living death. I mean, maybe that's your job, but where I come from, you know, people like that get slapped.
That's fucking illegal.
Nick Diaz, you just shook up the world. How's that feel?
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Yeah, this is a simulated death match. And you haven't simulated anybody's death yet.
I said it last year. We're not here just to take part. We're here to take over.
What is the game plan going in against him?
The game plan is you go in there, hit him with some good shit, don't get hit, and come home with a pocket full of cash.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.
I'm gonna go home tonight. I'm gonna drink a Coors Light. That's a Coors Light because Bud Light won't pay me nothing.
Do you want to be a fighter? That is my question.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? I want smoke.
Yes. What is up? Hipsters here, haters beware. Another daily edition of the show. It's Monday. You know what? When I woke up this morning and I felt, it's Monday, it's the show, it's, everything. I was thinking about what's ahead this weekend. I got really excited. Pause. But, we got Robert Easter Jr. versus Mike Garcia. We got Joseph Parker versus Dylan White, which isn't being shown in the U.S. at all from what I know. Shout out to Eddie Hearn over there. But we have so many great fights to look forward to. And obviously, so many fights to review this weekend. Usyk versus Gassiev turned out to be quite different than I think what everyone thought it was going to be. Same with Munguia Smith. I think this weekend turned out to be something that a lot of people didn't expect. Even in shades of the UFC event, Shogun versus Anthony Smith, I don't think people expected it to be that emphatic and that quick. Even the people that were picking Anthony Smith, like me, we did not expect that. So I think there's a lot to be said here about sort of the unexpectedness of the sport. Obviously, we have so much to review, so much to break down, tons of news to get to as well. So we're going to get right into it as always, which is basically this weekend's review of boxing. And then obviously in the second half of the show, we'll review the UFC event, Shogun versus Anthony Smith, and also the news of MMA and the UFC world as well, and break it down. But obviously, let's get right to it, because this fight, Alexander Usyk versus Murat Gassiev, was quite possibly one of the best fights to make in boxing. And it turned out to be one of the easiest fights of the year to score. I scored every round by Alexander Usyk. I thought he won clearly. I thought he won convincingly. He put on a clinic against Murat Gassiev, and then did it while completely unifying the division, become the undisputed champion. It's a lot to sort of package and sort of understand and contextualize, I think, going forward, what this was. And quickly, before I get to any more, shout out to everyone in the chat. I forgot to shout out everyone in the chat. That shots at me. I apologize, everyone. I apologize. Shout out to everyone. MB, Potential Lunatic, Benjamin Franklin, Daniel Simpson, Wake Up Sheeple, always love that name, Fighter IQ, Ron, the Mastermind, a.k.a. TBV's new co-host. Shout out to Robbie Hearn, I guess, a.k.a. TBV's old co-host. What up? And, of course, Fern, goalie. What's up, everyone? I hope everyone's been having a great day. And shout out to everyone that would be listening in the future, past, and present. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, share the show. It's Mixed Combat Radio. It's you can find it on basically any platform, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Patreon, etc. So definitely go and check that out. Layer Merchant also in the chat. The great Larry Merchant, probably not the actual one, let's be honest. Curtis Cooper, what's up, everyone? Hope everyone's having a great Monday, even though it's fucking Monday. Am I right? Am I right? saying, shout out Matty Ice. What's up, everyone? Usyk, I think, instantly started getting compared to Georgie Porter and Matt, who in history has been undisputed with only 15 fights. Man, I kind of mentioned that, probably not on Twitter. I don't think I mentioned it on Twitter, but at least to like the people I talk to, behind the scenes and in the media world. He is it. Especially in terms of like modern day boxing, where we have the proliferation of title belts and championships and sanctioning bodies. No one has. And it's one of those things where we talk so much about the leap of competition that Lomachenko took, for example. Or even guys like Joshua or Spence, for example. I think a lot of people hype up how quickly those guys sort of went to an elite stage and the world level rather fast and rapidly. No one talks about it, I think, as they should with Usyk. He has arguably put on a Hall of Fame run, maybe not Hall of Fame career yet, but Hall of Fame run in 15 fights. Instantly he was getting compared to Evander Holyfield, David Haye, sort of the other, the great, probably the greatest cruiserweight in all time of Evander Holyfield, and probably one of the most prolific in David Haye, at least in the new generation, the new age of our sport, the 21st century of the sport. It's been David Haye. I'll be honest. I think you throw Usyk against the Enzo Maccarinellis of the world. Come on, like let's be honest here. Let's start giving Usyk his respect. He is a pound for pound great right now, and I put this on Twitter, and I completely stand by it. It is Crawford, Lomachenko, and Usyk, and then everyone at a far distant 4th, 5th, 6th, etc. It is truly those three at the very top in terms of skill, technique, what they're able to do in the ring, outclassing their competition. It is them. It is absolutely them. I think you look at a guy like Crawford, who became undisputed champion in his own weight class at 140, then moved up. You look at Usyk, who became undisputed champion at 15 fights, and look at the amateur pedigree he has as a gold medal Olympic medalist. Yeah, that's kind of redundant, but anyways, digressing. You really need, not necessarily you listening, but just people out there, we need to start really thinking about Usyk in the context of what he's doing right now. It's fantastic. And to the fight itself, there's really not much to break down in terms of, round by round analysis. It was basically the same round. Usyk was able to pump the jab out consistently and land it against the opposite stanced opponent. Obviously, him being a southpaw, Gassiev being an orthodox fighter. I think Gassiev really wasn't comfortable throwing the jab, never really fought the jab battle, and which allowed Usyk to land it at will, controlled the pace, the range of it with that, unloaded combinations at will, landed them all pretty much accurately, was able to counter a lot of the forward aggression of Gassiev with his left hand, either with uppercuts or straight lefts. Anytime he was pressured to the ropes or to the corner, he was able to duck under and roll out of that left hook that was coming from Gassiev and reestablish distance, get back to the center of the ring, and control the pace and control the tone of the fight again and again. And he sort of got Gassiev in a point of where I think he sort of gave up on adapting his game plan. I don't think he really had anything to sort of back up to. I really am shocked that it was that easy. I didn't think it would be that easy. And it was. The footwork, the speed, the athleticism, the cardio. God, the fact that if you looked at that first round for Usyk to the 12th round, his pace never stopped. Not once. He never took a round off. He systematically broke Gassiev down, which is clean footwork, great boxing skill, and amazing combinations. He Rob in the chat, we were having this discussion off air, me and Rob, personally. He's saying Gassiev never rolled the dice. I think to a point that is true. That Gassiev obviously seemingly did not just go for broke. In a fight we're going to break down next, obviously Munguia, Liam Smith. Munguia was facing issues. He changed it up. He went for broke. And we saw the difference there. With Gassiev, I think he legitimately tried at times. He tried to really throw a huge combination, tried to land a powerful punch. But Usyk either slipped it, rolled with it, or completely evaded the shot consistently. I think you need to go back and watch that fight a little bit, Rob, and just start counting, just for argument's sake, just start counting the amount of shots that Gassiev misses, or he doesn't really connect at all with. The efficiency of Gassiev was so low, similar to, again, a fight that I sort of called about or compared it to on the live fight chat, I believe, was Lomachenko. The whole Nomaschenko factor that, yes, I think we underrate their power, because I think, let's be honest, Usyk was knocking out motherfuckers before he started fighting at an elite level at his 10th pro fight. Same with Lomachenko. You see when Lomachenko fights lesser competition, he knocks him out. When you see him fight greater competition, of course, he most likely goes to decision. That's what happens. But there is power there. There is respectable power there. And then you add on that factor of their ability to completely take away everything from their opponent. Their game plan, their style, their efficiency, their cardio, their athleticism, everything. They control it. They dictate it all. That is discouraging. And I think for undefeated fighters that aren't used to that feeling, like a Gassiev, who's probably the best guy in the gym when he goes and trains, I think he's not used to that. And then you have a combination of Usyk being that skilled and that great, take away all the tools of Gassiev, make him look like he's just chasing him around, getting hit with shots, and you combine that with an Abel Sanchez who really doesn't have a style of training that is different than what Gassiev already brings to the table, which is already taken away by Usyk. Again, phenomenal fight by Usyk. I think he put on a masterclass. It's him, Lomachenko, and Crawford at the very top, and everyone else way down below on the list, to the point where it almost really doesn't matter to me. I've had people wanted me to make top pound for pound list, stuff like that. It's a top 3 right now, and then everyone else doesn't matter, to be completely honest. I think what they are doing right now is history in the making. We're literally seeing 3 Hall of Famers at least right now in front of us. Enjoy it, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy it. You're going to have some media members who really not hype it up, downplay it, but this is history in the making. This is a Hall of Famer in front of us putting on performance after performance that is amazing. If you aren't a fan of Usyk and a fan of his style, and you don't think he's great, then I question your love of the sport. I question whether you're just a fan of boxing or a fan of fighters, because there's a difference there. You can be a fan of certain people and not really be a fan of the sport. If you're a fan of the sport, you watch Usyk and you recognize greatness. And Sidify Ryan saying, I think Sanchez was poor in the corner. Agree. No ideas from him throughout the fight. Got exposed a bit. I think Sanchez has always been known to be that guy. I think coaches, I should say, have particular styles. Like Freddie Roach has his style. Virgil Hunter has his style. Emmanuel Stewart had his style. Like, you can go down the list of trainers and they sort of teach a certain style to their trainees, their fighters. I think Abel Sanchez has a very unique style of training that he can impart on. And I think if you don't have, let's say, that style, I think that's really useful because it then complements what you do not have, what you're lacking. But if you're a Gassiev, you already have that in spades. Everything that Abel Sanchez can teach Gassiev, he's known his entire life. It is what it is. He needs another coach to sort of discipline him and train him and compliment him in the style and techniques he does not have right now. Let's be honest. Curtis Cooper saying Canelo and Mikey deserve to be in pound for pound. Well, I mean, again, I only mentioned 3 names. And then there's a top 10, you can top 15, top 20, who cares? But, oh, that's funny. I'll mention just because of Benjamin Franklin's joke, because I wasn't going to mention Fernando's comment, but this is great, Benjamin. In the chat, Fernando goes, "Hey, Matt, I didn't know you had your own show, question mark. I know, isn't it? It's okay. Why did you leave TBV?" And then Rob put like the nervous face emoji with like the, gritting his teeth. And then Benjamin Franklin comes in because of Rob, LOL. Yes, 100% because of Rob. It's all Rob's fault, let's be honest. But Fernando, go back to, I think, to like one of the first shows I did, or just go on my Instagram page, Matt Hunter MCR. I believe I made a statement there. That's good enough. But back, digressing a little bit, back to the topic at hand. I think, again, just to reiterate, Usyk is fucking phenomenal. Keep doing what he's doing. And let's obviously sort of transition to what's next for Usyk before we head into the Munguia-Smith fight. Obviously, Eddie Hearn has come out and said, Bellew wants Usyk. He asked me to make the fight. I've called. Blah, 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 blah. Rob saying, "I did not make Matt quit." No, that was a joke, everyone. Rob is not the reason why I'm not at TBV anymore. But I love Rob. And I love TBV. Keep supporting both and all of us. It's okay, people. You can love all of us together. Hashtag one love. Am I right? Oh, well, wrong side. I apologize. That's where I wanted to play.
It's bullshit.
I'm sorry, Usyk. I'm sorry. But digressing, of course, to what I was saying. Usyk versus Bellew is what Hearn and Tony Bellew want. Obviously, Bellew came out on Twitter and said, I'm ready. Let's go. Usyk said, okay. And then we had, I'm just going to mention it. I know I'm kind of putting it out there in the universe. So you can see the title of the show. Dennis Lebedev saying he may push for the mandatory shot at Usyk. I know, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, Rob saying support MCR's boxing session. Yes, because not the MMA section. Yes, that's amazing. That's hilarious, Rob. Get out of here. I should have never made you moderator. Dennis Lebedev is the champion in recess. For those that do not remember, Yonair Dorticos, who fought Murat Gassiev in the semifinals, and he was the WBA super champion, was elevated to that status from regular champion when Lebedev, because of injuries, decided to bow out of the tournament and of the belt. So sort of like a merited status, he was named champion in recess. So similar to Tony Bellew, who we're going to talk about obviously in conjunction with this, who is WBC champion emeritus, Dennis Lebedev at any time can sort of enact a mandatory status. And usually sanctioning bodies sort of take turns at which mandatory is enforced. I don't know which one will sort of dictate which one's first here. We don't know yet, but it looks like Dennis Lebedev will enact his mandatory sort of status with the WBA, and it may look like Tony Bellew may do the same. Just interesting to know. Johnny in the chat. What's up, Johnny? Elias, how you guys doing? Elias and Matt, can you make a surprise visit to the TBV on Triple G Canelo fight? If I'm invited, yeah. I have no animosity. Like, let's get that straight. That's why I always say one love. Come on. But again, digressing. Obviously, Dennis Lebedev is the lesser fight than Tony Bellew. Let's all, I think we can all agree on that, right? Like, that's not a thing that really should take up much of our time is, which opponent's better. But I will say this. Dennis Lebedev does not get the due respect he does as a cruiserweight. I think he's one of the most underrated, not only champions of his era, but just fighters of his era, let alone cruiserweights of all time. He is definitely one of the most underrated guys out there. So just shout out to Dennis Lebedev. If he comes back, I would definitely just like that. I like the idea of him coming back into it. His name adds a lot of sort of history to and legacy when you beat him. Similar to like what was his name? God, that's Mauricio Hook. No, that's a wrong first name. What's his first name? Anyways, Hook. Like there was, when you're a long reigning champion in the cruiserweight division, you beat him, it makes sense. I think we're gonna get Tony Bellew versus Alexander Usyk. I think that's a likely occurrence now, especially with both Eddie Hearn and Tony Bellew seemingly on board for it. They would be the ones not to be on board with it. I think it's a fantastic fight. I think it's probably at cruiserweight. I know that was a question asked, I believe, on the Championship Rounds podcast. Marco, thank you. I knew it was wrong with what did I say, Mauricio? No, Maurice, whatever I called him. Thank you. It's Marco Huck. God, so much information in front of me, and you can only fit so much in this great big noggin here, But digressing, I think Bellew stands a chance. But let's be honest here. We thought Gassiev either was going to produce a fight of the year contender here with Usyk and lose, or beat Usyk because he's the stronger, heavier-handed, more in-your-face opponent. Seemingly the style kryptonite for an Usyk, and he wasn't. So what's Tony Bellew going to do? Is Tony Bellew going to outbox Usyk? No, definitely not. That's not a path to victory for him. Is he going to brawl with him and be the aggressor? I don't know why he can do it better than Gassiev. Like that, I don't see that. I think it's a fun fight. Don't get me wrong. One that probably lasts 12 rounds. One that probably has some good hype behind it because, let's be honest, Tony Bellew knows how to sell a fight. I think Usyk is the type of guy, let's be honest.
It's bullshit.
He can get kind of angry. Let's be honest. I definitely believe that it will be a fight that we all will get hyped for, but one that really doesn't stand a chance for Tony Bellew. Like, I don't see the argument that he can beat Usyk. And if you're saying that he's knocking out Usyk, which I saw some people like Jaime Moore say, which quickly.
Don't be mad, homie.
Don't be mad, homie. Come on, Jamie. There's no way Bellew knocks out Usyk when Gassiev didn't. There's just no way. Usyk has obviously a durable chin, has really not been rocked in any sort of significant fashion his entire pro career, and has faced some heavy hitters. I think it's kind of ridiculous to think that Tony Bellew can knock him out. Maybe the argument there is that he beats him because he just is the aggressor, but Benjamin Franklin making a great point. How can you box versus Usyk? Like, if there was a path to victory to beat Usyk, it would have been a guy like Gassiev. If you had to build a guy in a lab, it would be Murat Gassiev to beat Alexander Usyk at cruiserweight. And it's not that, because he obviously lost every fucking round. Potential lunatic saying if Usyk beats Bellew, expect Usyk versus AJ in 2019. And you know what? I'm kind of hyped for that, like on the low. I don't think it's one that Usyk wins. I think AJ is a little bit too big, a little bit too strong. And obviously skilled enough to be able to, I think, negate enough of the technique to be able to land his harder shots. It's the bag. Like, I can't really be upset at Usyk. Like, if you want to take it from an angle of like, damn, it's another fight that's in the way of AJ Wilder, I completely get it. But if you're like in Usyk's corner, if you're a manager of Usyk, if you're his trainer, if you're even him, why wouldn't you want $10 million at least to fight for 36 minutes? Why not? It's kind of ridiculous to think like he wouldn't take that. I don't think it's a winnable one. And Sci-Fi Ryan saying Bellew has better footwork. I'm assuming better than Gassiev. That's great. Does he have better footwork than Usyk? Nope. No, he does not. Fighter IQ saying Bellew is better than Gassiev. Maybe as like an overall fighter, yeah. In certain categories, yeah. But in terms of styles make fights, right? Like that's always an additive that transcends all of fight sports, right? That is always true. Does Bellew have the better style to beat Alexander Usyk than Murat Gassiev? The answer is clearly no. Like, don't use hindsight as 2020 here. Let's all think about what we were thinking about this fight beforehand. Gassiev was this killer, this come forward, aggressive knockout artist that could take any shot. He was going to come in here and beat Usyk's brakes off, and Usyk was going to have to be the one to survive, outbox him. That didn't happen because Usyk is that good. I think Bellew, while being maybe a better boxer than Gassiev, doesn't really have the style to beat Usyk because Gassiev had the better style, obviously. So I'm sorry.
Don't be mad on me.
It's okay. I know.
I'm very Phil.
I know these Gassiev fanboys, Usyk, are in their feels. It's okay. Don't be so.
Emotional. Why you emotional?
Come on, guys. Come on. Daniel Simpson making a great point. Gassiev would beat Bellew. I agree with that. I agree. I think Gassiev would beat Bellew. I think there's a lot of armchair Monday quarterback status right here saying that Gassiev ain't that good. Bellew's the shit. Usyk still ain't that good. No, Usyk's fucking pound for pound amazing talent. Hall of Famer, probably, let's be honest. And Bellew is just a overachiever with low athletic ability, right? And pretty fundamental skill. And just a run-of-the-mill traditional skill set, too. Like, come on. Rob saying, I'm leaving. This Usyk love is making me sick. Coming from the guy that picked Gassiev to knock out Usyk.
Don't be mad on me.
Come on.
I want smoke.
Come on, fam. Come on, Rob. You can jump on the show anytime if you want and debate that bullshit. Johnny making a great point, saying Rob's a hater. And Johnny with the sniper shot from the tower, man. Rob's going down. But moving on. I really want to talk about the undercard. Cecilia Brackets pulled off a run-of-the-mill win. Curtis Cooper saying very hyperbolic today. To not pick up a guy becoming undisputed in 15 fights, beating guys like Marius Briedis and Murat Gassiev, I think is being hyperbolic. I think that is hyperbole, to not hype that up. Come on. What are you guys doing here? No respect. No respect. I gotta get the Birdman soundbite for some respect on my name. I gotta get that. That's on my list now. But digressing quickly, obviously, to the rest of the card. Cecilia Brackets pulled off a run-of-the-mill win. Big, huge robbery against Mohammadi, and Chudanov is ridiculous. So shots out to the Russian judges. Daniel Simpson asking a off-topic question, but I'll address it, saying, how good is Ryan Martin? Not seen him yet. Hope my Scottish bro takes him out. Obviously, Josh Taylor's the favorite, and deservedly the favorite, but Ryan Martin's a good prospect. I think this is a little bit too soon. I would have liked him to get sort of step-up fights, but he's good. Like, he's not bad. And if you had asked me before, let's say the Maurice Hooker-Terry Flanagan fight, who has a better overall career left in them, Maurice Hooker or Ryan Martin, I would say Ryan Martin. So not to use hindsight for, obviously the Hooker and Flanagan fight, but I think Ryan Martin's a top 15, top 20 guy, to be fair. Again, not probably likely to win, not deserving to be the favorite, but I definitely think Josh Taylor should be the guy to win that. But digressing to the next fight, or next fight card of the night, Jaime Munguia versus Liam Smith. Shout out to all the UK fanboys. I love you. Don't worry. Don't worry, guys. It's okay. It's okay. Liam Smith put on a hell of a fight. Definitely go check out our live fight chat. I was surprised. I was surprised by how really efficient and accurate Liam Smith was throughout. Let's be honest. Throughout the fight, he was, I think, the more accurate puncher, the better overall boxer, better IQ, more fundamentally sound than Jaime Munguia. All those things, there, but put to the side, he did not have the punching power to really contend, I think, with Munguia, and I called that out on the Wednesday show. Munguia's power, I think, obviously was a gigantic factor. He knocked Smith down. Obviously didn't knock him out, but the power was evident. You could see Liam Smith literally wince when some of these body shots were landing. I think Munguia obviously showed technical flaws that we assumed were there but never really saw yet, and now we saw them. I think that should sort of put a cap on that fucking meteoric rising hype train, but there still should be hype there. I think we should not get too carried away by how sort of Munguia looked so hittable. I think that goes with his style and those I think minor technique issues that he should fix, because he will always be hittable with this style. I don't think he's going to be this defensive wizard ever in his career. I think he's going to be the type of guy to sort of have to rely on his aggressiveness, his power, and his durability to sort of win. But I think the minor issues he can fix up, he can probably fix up in the next year or two. He's young, 21 years old. I think he still showed, that he can come back from adversity, because he did not look good in the first 3 to 4 rounds. Those were really the only rounds I gave to Liam Smith. You saw Munguia adapt. You saw Munguia have to deal with the better boxer and sort of deal with the mental block he had in the first few rounds to start sort of going. Similar to, us talking about Gassiev, and I was stitching back to this point I made earlier, to Gassiev Usyk. Gassiev never transitioned. He never sort of switched gears and went, okay, I'm losing this fight. I just have to go for broke. I have to start getting in their face and being the aggressor. Start throwing at more volume. Those little things to sort of take the pace and the tone away from your opponent and into sort of your side. Munguia did those things. And while, yes, he showed defensive flaws, offensively, he showed great adaptation, adaptability. Again, showed great power. Good cardio as well. His cardio held up, and that was, I think, a huge shock to me. Going 12 rounds, I think he looked pretty good throughout. Again, just learning to stick behind the jab a little more. Not overextending on his shots, fixing his balance issues, keeping his lead hand up a little bit more, I think will do wonders for him. Imagine if he had, let's say, like the high guard of like a Lamont Peterson. That would be fantastic. Those minor things you can fix to sort of shore up his issues. Will he be a guy to sort of beat Jarrett Hurd and Eslon De Laura and Jamel Charlo? Probably not. I don't think he has that in his ceiling. But to be the perennial top 4, top 5 guy in your division, be a champion here and there, win fights, lose some, make millions in the process, is that a bad career? Definitely not. Tons of boxers would love and die to have that career. So I think Munguia is fine. I think at 160, he's not going to fare that well. I think the fact that those guys up there probably can take your shots a little bit better and land their own, that's pretty hard. I think Munguia might struggle there, but at 154, he's going to contend. And, give him a couple year or two away from those top 3 or 4 guys and then put him in there. I think he can do some good shit. He doesn't beat some of these guys, obviously, like a Jarrett Hurd, but that fight's amazing. That fight is a potential fight of the year candidate. So just because I don't think Munguia has it in him to beat that guy, it doesn't mean I don't think that he deserves to be in that fight to begin with, or that I don't want to see it. Daniel Simpson saying keep him away from Canelo. Yeah, I can see your point. I think Canelo would counter him all day, and Canelo's a very accurate puncher. Munguia is definitely not an accurate puncher. That was hurting him. His shots really weren't accurate in terms of the placement, etc. Still Green, Ellie making a great point. Still Green needs careful matchmaking. Could be one to watch, though. Definitely one to watch. I mean, because, again, at this point right now, he's still top 5 in the division. At worst, top 10. I think he's probably top 5. I don't think you can name 5 guys better than him at this point in the division. So I think Munguia is somebody to, again, watch, as you say, Ellie, and somebody that will make a ton of great matchups, a ton of great fights in the next 5 to 10 years. So interesting sort of career to watch going forward and what it will look like. But moving on to our news of the day. Yes. Ray Beltran versus Pedraza. All right. But the return of Dogbe, Isaac Dogbe. That deserves sound effects. One of the biggest upsets of the year against Jesse Magdaleno, and also one of the low-key fight of the years, I want to be honest, versus Hadanori Otaki for August 25th in Arizona. A little good doubleheader there for ESPN. Georgie saying, Matt, answer the question, please. Georgie, I didn't see your question. I deeply apologize. Let me see. Saying, Georgie. Oh, here it is. Matt, if Wilfredo Benitez became champ at 17 and Trinidad at 19 and killing monsters, why are so-called boxing fans say that Jaime is only 21? Okay. Georgie, Mozart was creating symphonies at the age of, 7? Why isn't every composer making music at the age of 7? Huh? Why not? Mark Zuckerberg made Facebook at the age of 23? Why am I not making Facebook? I'm 23. Huh? Shots at me. I obviously don't know how to do life right. Like, that's just stupid logic, Georgie. Like, those, you mentioned Hall of Famers. Greats. Trinidad's one of the greatest fighters ever. Same with Wilfredo Benitez. Those are phenomenal fighters. You know, so I think it's kind of ridiculous to, first off, compare them. And not everyone's the same. Some people become prodigies at a very young age. Some people don't. You know, it's just sort of that simple. To hold everyone to a prodigy standard is just not realistic. Again, Mozart's the best example. Do you expect every musical symphony to come out or musical artist to come out to be 7 years old like Mozart and create music that transcends centuries of human history? Why not? You know, like, it's just ridiculous. Nas made Illmatic at 19. Why isn't every 19-year-old rapper just as smart as Nas and making classics in their first album? Let's be honest. So it's just ridiculous to do that. Georgie's saying, why have so-called boxing fans said that he should be matched carefully just because he's 21? Because, Georgie, do any of us legitimately think that Munguia has the skill right now to beat Jarrett Hurd and Charlo and Laura? Are those competitive fights? No. So why, as boxing fans, do we want to see non-competitive fights? You know, it's clearly that simple. Daniel Simpson saying, look at Bellew. He was awful at 20. Exactly. There's guys that have career renaissance. We're going to talk about that, obviously, in the UFC event. Georgie saying, you missed the point. No, obviously, you missed the point, Georgie. You missed it, Georgie. You compared him to Wilfredo Benitez and Felix Trinidad. Those were prodigy fighters. Those were Hall of Famers almost instantly when they fucking were born. They were that good. Not everyone is that, Georgie. Not everyone's a Mozart. Like, this isn't like that complicated. Fight IQ saying he has a belt sent to the Wolves. Well, I mean, you don't have to match him up with no names. But Tony Harrison, J-Rock, Sam Eggington, Ted Cheeseman, Liam Williams. These are all credible opponents. If you're not, then you just have a very warped sense of boxing because then you only think about the top 5. And there's a clue out there. There's top 10s and top 15s. And Ron, as a guy that follows MMA, you should be much more acceptable to a top, let's say, 5 guy fighting a top 15 guy. That's common in MMA. And hell, it's usually applauded. So you can have no softies, but still match them up properly. Those are not mutually exclusive ideas here, Georgie. Use your noggin here. Critical thinking's not that hard here, buddy. It's not that hard. But moving on, because Georgie just wants to talk about nonsense. And speaking of nonsense, oh, Bobby. Poor Bobby. Saying I have to sit with Pacquiao and talk face-to-face on Future. And I'll be honest, I'm not going to read the quotes because it makes no sense. I shouldn't say makes no sense. Curtis Cooper saying J-Rock and Harrison are tough fights. Yes, they are, but I think they're winnable fights for Munguia. Anyways, digressing. Bob Arum, Manny Pacquiao. Bob Arum is that like ex-girlfriend or boyfriend that doesn't really know that you're broken up yet. Have you ever had that? Where you sort of have that talk, but you're not really good at it. So, you know, you maybe have like, you know, you hook up right after the breakup, which is always awkward. I feel like that's what Bobby did here with Pacquiao. Like they had a split, and they kind of got back together for like a night or two with the Matisse fight, with the whole Bob Arum handling the international distribution, the U.S. distribution. And now we have Bob Arum after Manny Pacquiao comes out and says, I personally, through Manny Pacquiao Promotions, will be discussing and negotiating all deals for my future fight or future fights. You have Arum coming out here saying, well, I've sit down with Pacquiao, talk face-to-face on the future, see what's up, you know, see what he wants to do, and sort of work with him. And it's like, Bobby, you don't get it, buddy. You don't get it, man. It's unfortunate. But I don't know what he is going to do here, or what he actually thinks is accomplishable here, because Manny Pacquiao obviously does not want to fuck with Bob Arum or Freddie. Obviously. And I think it's one of those things where, like, just let it go, man. Let the relationship die. You got other fighters like Crawford, Lomachenko, beef them up. And I know in the quotes he did say that he's going to offer Lomachenko and Crawford to Pacquiao. Man, Pacquiao ain't taking any of those fights. Let's be honest here. MB making a great comment, which I will read just for hilarity. And again, MCR does not endorse this comment. I am just reading it. MB saying, I just got a horrible image of Pac and Bob hooking up in a seedy motel for a one night of filth. Oh my god, that's so fucking good. Daniel Simpson impacted the zone. I can see Pacquiao fighting on the zone, maybe not having to deal with the zone, if that makes sense. Like I can see him having one-offs, like a one-off with Amir Khan on the zone. Go collect the bag there. I can see that sort of stuff absolutely. Georgie's still on Munguia. Dude, we're off of it, Georgie. Munguia is a top 5 opponent, or top 5 junior middleweight. He's good. He's 21 years old. Just won the belt. Just beat a credible top 10 opponent. And you're already hating on him. Let him live, dog. Like, let him live. Similar to Bob Arum. Let Manny Pacquiao live. Let him do his thing. Let him be happy. It's okay. It's an unhealthy relationship at this point, Bobby. But just, again, interesting to note, Bob Arum seemingly still believes he has an active role in Manny Pacquiao's future. Manny Pacquiao obviously making it vocal that that is not how he feels. So what is going to happen here? And especially with what's going to happen here, George Grove saying, finally, ... I added extra dot there, but it's okay. Dramatic effect, am I right? Confirm that at Gareth A. Davies has confirmed that hashtag WBSS have confirmed that there's a confirmed announcement next week. George Groves.
I want smoke.
It's bullshit.
It's okay, Georgie. It's okay. Not George in the chat. George Groves. This was weird to me. I mean, they said it. I forget if it was the pre-fight press conference for Usyk Gassiev. I forget where they said it was the draft gala. I forget where they actually said it, but it was, oh, we finally have an announcement for our finale, Groves and Callum Smith. It'll be announced next week. And it's like, no, you don't have an official announcement yet. Because saying I have an announcement next week is not an actual announcement. Announcing you're going to have an announcement is probably the craziest fucking thing you can do as a company. But yet all companies do that. So this goes for every promotional network company out there that does this in any industry. Stop. Please. It's ridiculous. I feel bad for George Groves, to be honest, because they're going to throw him on with like 4 weeks' notice. in like Germany or some shit, guaranteed, where no one wants this fight. Just so sad. So sad. Speaking of sad news, well, not really sad news, but it could end up being sad depending on how this fight goes. Tom Loffer has confirmed that they're planning to put Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez comeback fight on the Canelo vs. Triple G2 card September 15th by way of IFL TV, and Michael Benson copying it. Am I right?
I want smoke.
There we go. At least I give people credit. But yeah, I really don't know what to make of Roman Gonzalez. I hope they match him up with the softy, to use Georgie's words. I think that's the right move with Roman Gonzalez. The fact that he was brutally knocked out, the amount of wars he's been in, his age relative to his division, and how often guys don't really have long careers in the small weight classes. It's rather odd how long he's been gone, sort of the lack of communication. You know, he had those 2 losses, and it seemed like every promotional push he had, network push, gone in a moment's notice. And it's kind of sad, to be honest, just as a fan of just the sport and just wanting boxers to get their just due. They pushed him like he was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And he had 2 losses, and now I feel like HBO, which is, let's be honest, non-existent in boxing, just even though they had a card recently, they have yet to really talk about him in any sort of significant capacity. Or even the guy that beat him. Like, they didn't even give that guy any push. So I don't know what they do with Roman Gonzalez going forward and, long term. It's good that he sort of has at least this big card to sort of be featured on. Match him up good. Give him an easy knockout here. And then I think you just sort of look for money fights and the smart fights, because health-wise, the amount of wars he really has been, from Akira Agashi to Quadras to Serkat Rungsvi, he's been in war after war after war. It's concerning at this point. So yeah, just something to make note of. What's going forward with a former pound-for-pound talent, a guy that was near the mythical 49-0 that everyone's talking about. So at least something to make note of. And shout out to Benson again, because I will at least make note of this. Johnny saying, "Yo, Matt, before you end the show," with a dramatic no finish to that statement. Johnny, don't worry, we still have the entire MMA portion of the show, so I'll be good here. Did you see the Showbox card? Yes, I did see the Showbox card, Johnny. Though I will be honest, I did not see the main event. After the Matisse and whoever he fought, I'm not going to butcher his name, I turned it off, and I haven't watched it since. I was that upset about the judging scorecard. I was visibly upset in my studio watching that. But digressing, it was disgusting. But Johnny making another great point. Montana looked like trash. Oh,
I want smoke.
Yeah, he kind of did. Yeah, he did. That's the internet sensation factor. Shout out to Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis. We know who's the real one and who's not. Let's be honest. But a little bit of a, rumor. Not really rumor, but just wild, pure speculation. It's not realistic. I doubt it's happening. But, this is fun. Deontay Wilder is still yet to name his next opponent. Will not, with not much in the rumor mill. Meanwhile, Tyson Fury is now dropping videos like this. He couldn't, or could he? Let me just play it quickly for you guys, because this is hilarious.
Can you imagine if I went to America and beat Deontay Wilder in America after beating Klitschko in Germany? That would be sensational. It might happen. Who knows? Wait for the news.
I want smoke.
Yes. So, not happening. Not at all. But I love Tyson Fury on social media. I love that he keeps doing this shit. I love that he's trolling Joshua throughout all of this and saying, oh, too bad my countrymen are scared and all that stuff. I love that he's doing this just because he is the complete heel in the division. You know, we have like Rocky and Apollo Creed, and then we have fucking Clubber Lang out here with a you know, gut mohawk, just because like his gut, like his physical signature, like, you know, never mind, digressing to a point. But I think Tyson Fury is just awesome in what he's doing, antagonizing the entire division, making up wild speculation and rumors. Love it. Keep doing that shit. It will always be entertaining. But that is it for the boxing portion of the show, ladies and gentlemen. For those that do not care about boxing, I do deeply apologize. Psych. Yeah, come on.
Don't be mad on me.
Don't be mad. But we're going to move over to MMA and UFC news as always, and obviously break down this weekend's card. UFC Fight Night Hamburg, Shogun Rua versus Anthony Smith. Potentially the last time we're going to see the great Shogun Rua. Man. First off, Anthony Smith, salute to him. Salute. I picked him to win. I did not pick him to win that emphatically or that quickly. I mean, he had a counter 1-2 that set it all up, that hurt Shogun about a minute and a half into the first round. Started unloading combinations, backed Shogun up against the cage, delivered a mean standing elbow that knocked out Shogun standing up against the cage, opened up a cut on his forehead, followed up with a few more punches as Shogun is knocked out while leaning up against the cage. Brutal fashion. You know, obviously in the picture on our thumbnail, which I'll show right now, you know, you can see right after he threw that elbow with the cut open right there. It was fucking brutal. And now we have a sort of new contender out of nowhere in the sort of barren wasteland that is light heavyweight. A couple quick points. Anthony Smith, a guy that we talk about, or I'll sort of switch back to the idea that Georgie asked earlier about age and all that. Anthony Smith is a guy with a record of, I want to say like 30-something wins and like 15 losses. A guy that had tons of losses in the regional scene before entering the UFC as a sort of card filler. And then all of a sudden has this sort of renaissance, resurgence. Robbie Lawler, another great example. A guy that was touted as the Mike Tyson of MMA in the early 2000s and then got knocked out cold in 2003, I want to say, by Nick Diaz. Way back in the day. Great stitchback fight. Go watch it. And he went on to have a so-so career up and down the regional scene, enter the UFC, and then had a Hall of Fame run at the top. Was really the successor to George St. Pierre after beating Johnny Hendricks. So I think guys can just sort of catch a wave all of a sudden, catch that momentum, sort of just all of a sudden just unlock it in their head, figure it out, get the right training around them, the right coaching, the right mentality, the right support group, whatever it may be. Sometimes all of a sudden fighters click, and it seems like they're all putting it together. Anthony Smith looks like that. He 100% reminds me of a Robbie Lawler. Obviously, he doesn't have the clout that he did coming into the UFC. Didn't have the push the UFC gave him like early on in his career. Obviously, his career line doesn't match up. But in terms of all of a sudden, it's just clicking. And their technique is showing up. They're making drastic improvements. Their IQ in terms of when to throw the shot, their defensive ability, it's all seemingly there out of the blue. Anthony Smith looks like that. And as he's finally moved up to a weight class that is probably right for me, it's not cutting too much weight. He's like a 6'3", 6'4". He was at 185 pounds. Now he's at 205, which he should be. I like it. And even though Rashad Evans and Shogun Rua, his two fights at light heavyweight are against faded versions of fighters that probably should retire. Rashad Evans already has. Shogun probably should. Team Batman Boxing, go check out his channel and his page on Instagram. Saying, yeah, Shogun needs to retire. Definitely agree. Lord Jacob saying, Smith destroyed Shogun. I saw Rocky's wife in the crowd yelling, stop the fight! Stop the fight! Oh, man. It was bad. It was really rough to watch. But now we have a sort of new contender. And obviously he went on to immediately call out Alexander Gustafsson. And then it just spiraled out of control from there. Because then this came up, Alexander Gustafsson officially out of UFC 227 with a minor injury. And then it just kept evolving from there. And then it sort of devolved into this. Daniel Cormier roasting Alexander Gustafsson on the UFC pullout and UFC's and Gustafsson's team responds and all that stuff. I mean, read you Daniel Cormier's post on Twitter. Oh, that's not it. Oh, where is it? Oh, my God. I apologize. Let me find it really fast. Here it is. Wow, my fault. It's all the next topic. DC posting this picture and saying, Dear Alex. Well, let me get like dramatic music here. Dear Alex, I don't know what happened to you going back to the Rocco situation. You've always been a stand-up guy, but your behavior changed. Oh. From calling a guy out the day after he got knocked out to now offering to fight me, knowing I have a broken hand after Vulcan couldn't go. Now you've turned down January. I think it means Jan Blachowicz. Turned down Jan. Turned down Khalil. All while calling for a heavyweight title fight. Now, moments after Anthony Smith does his work like an animal, you decide you're hurt.
I want smoke.
Man, I respect you as a fighter. I will always be grateful for October 2015, which is when they fought. Great fight. Go watch it. Alexander Gustafsson arguably beat him. Digressing. But you and I won't share the octagon again. Oh, God, put him down like Odiella. Come on. That was just mean. I'm disappointed in who you've become. Oh, get the sad music out. Oh, damn. You are so entitled, man. I can't deal with delusional people. Good luck recovering. Our time has passed. See you from the commentary table. DC. Hashtag, we go our separate ways. Oh, my God.
I want smoke.
Lord Jacob saying, I know who Gustafsson is. Am I still MMA casual? Yeah. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Gustafsson fought John Jones. You should know who he is. This is weird. Like I really didn't expect this out of nowhere because DC has always been a very respectable guy, or respectful guy, I should say, to basically everyone. And like the rare occasions you have, obviously not talking John Jones because that is an actual feud. Like the Brock Lesnar situation, you can tell that was for show. Daniel Cormier was literally smiling and giggling like a child during it all. This is weird. This is a little bit out of character for him. I don't know why he's doing this. I don't know if it was sort of not an act, but sort of a PR stunt in a way. I don't know. It's just odd. It is highly odd to me. I don't know what to make of it, but shout out to that sort of roasting by Daniel Cormier, calling Gustafsson, entitled, etc. Gustafsson came on, not the MMA Hour, but I believe it was the Errol Hawani show on ESPN. Basically saying like it doesn't bother me, like he can say what he wants, I can't control it. And I think that's the right thing to say. Like how do you respond to that sort of bullshit? Like it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But digressing, definitely think that they should make Gustafsson versus Anthony Smith for an interim title because, let's be honest, DC and John Jones, if they do fight again, it will not be for the light heavyweight title. So you have the number 1, number 2 guy, not in the division. The number 3 guy is off lifting weights and building a marijuana empire. Shout out to Anthony Rumble Johnson. And now you have Gustafsson and Anthony Smith here to duke it out. It is what it is. I'm not going to get too hyped on it, but it's a fun fight. And I think Anthony Smith showed that he belongs at the top of this division. So let's see what it is. I say you wait, make Volkan-Ozdemir have a few tune-ups, and put Gustafsson against Anthony Smith. Have Volkan maybe be an alternate for that interim belt. Let's be honest. Kyle saying hard to be a Gustafsson fan these days. Shaking my head. It's just hard to it's hard to be a fan of his because he doesn't fight. Gustafsson's had one fight a year for the last 3 years, maybe if not more. It's just he's been very infrequent, so it's been hard. From injuries, becoming a dad, he's sort of just been out of the picture, to be honest. But digressing. Speaking of hard to be a fan of the UFC right now. Because, I think we talked about it last week. Brian Ortega was upset with the UFC's lack of compensation, etc. He went on Below the Belt with Brendan Schaub and sort of spoke on it. Interesting sort of interview. Him coming out on Twitter saying, for the record, at Dana White and I reached an agreement already and will continue to move forward in this fight game at UFC. I didn't realize it was this bad. That it was sort of this contentious between the two, where Brian Ortega was thinking about not fighting in the UFC, waiting out his contract, a la Randy Couture, etc. That was kind of shocking to me that it was that far where Brian Ortega had to make a public statement that me and Dana reached an agreement. Not a good sign. And speaking of good old Dana, if those that did not see, he held a birthday party for his teenage son, which cost over $1 million, which, per MMA Junkie, cost more than the recent UFC's entire payroll. Yes. And then shout out to Project Spearhead. Definitely, if you're a UFC fighter, go sign your fucking card and get shit going, because you guys need to get unionized. But they said, fighters, Dana White's son gets a $1,016,000 B-Day party, custom rover, and some intern rich kid UFC belt, where we have no health insurance or retirement and have to beg to be paid if our opponent can't fight. Sign a card where everyone except us will continue to get rich off of our hard work.
I want smoke.
Go do it. Go do it. And if you are a fan, tell your favorite fighter to go do it. Go at them on Twitter. Comment on their Instagram page, whatever it may be. Public pressure helps. It absolutely does. To think it does not help is ridiculous when we've seen public pressure affect the marketplace almost every day. So I think if you're out there and you care about fighters, you have to go out there. You have to be vocal about supporting a fighters union and start pushing this movement. Lord Jacob, damn, why fighters always beefing with Dana White? Oh, that's why.
That's fucking illegal.
Yes, it is. But ladies and gentlemen, that's been your daily edition of the podcast. Lord Jacob, if you did not know this because you are a little more of a casual, Dana White, who lives in Vegas, right? Paid to have snow, actual snow, shipped in and put around his house to make his kids feel like they were having a winter Christmas in Vegas. Yes, that actually happened. That is not fake news. Dana White posted that on his Instagram page. This is combat sports, ladies and gentlemen. This is combat sports. But yes, you can find me at Matt Hunter MCR, all platforms. Mixed Combat Radio, all platforms. Again, daily show. You can find us live on YouTube Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. in the UK. Live fight chats on Sunday, Saturday. Sunday is our Patreon-only podcast, championship rounds as well. Go check that out. Tons of topics were discussed. Make sure you hit that like button, smash it, tell a friend and tell a friend, share the show. Trying to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the month. We've got about a week left. We're only halfway. So this is it, guys. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. Tell a friend. Hey, go subscribe. Push your friends. Be that annoying boxing fan in your friend group. Do it. Do it now.
It's bullshit.
I know. Usyk, I know. It is bullshit. We're not at 1,000 subscribers yet. So go do it. In the words of Ben Stiller and Starsky and Hutch, do it. Peace.